bhagavate vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. sadṛśaṁ ceṣṭate svasyāḥ. prakṛter jñānavān api prakṛtim yānti bhūtāni nigrahaḥ kariṣyati. sadṛśaṁ accordingly, ceṣṭate tries, svasyāḥ by his own, prakṛteḥ modes of nature, jñānavān learned, api although, prakṛtim nature, yānti undergo, bhūtāni all living entities, nigrahaḥ repression, kim what, kariṣyati can do. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? Purport. Unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Kṛṣṇa consciousness, he can't get free from the influence of the modes of material nature, as it is confirmed by the Lord in the 7th chapter, 744. Therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of māyā simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. There are many so-called spiritualists who outwardly pose as advanced in the science, but inwardly or privately are completely under particular modes of nature which they are unable to surpass. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Kṛṣṇa consciousness helps one to get out of the material entanglement, even though one may be engaged in his prescribed duty in terms of material existence. Therefore, without being fully in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, one should not give up his occupational duty. No one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become a so-called yogī or transcendentalist artificially. It is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Kṛṣṇa consciousness under superior training. Thus one may be freed from the clutches of Kṛṣṇa's māyā. So this chapter called Karma Yoga, third chapter describes Karma Yoga, and this chapter begins with one question from Arjuna. The question is ज्यासि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मत्ता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोक्ष्यसि केशव. In second chapter, Kṛṣṇa was describing this situation of sthit pragya. Asthit pragya, whose pragya, mind, intelligence, completely fixed in Krishna consciousness and his behavior. And it appears that Krishna is describing that fixing our intelligence on the transcendence, Krishna is superior than any other activity. So here Arjuna says, Jyasi chet karmanaste matta. If Krishna, you consider, you think that bhakti yoga or buddhi yoga is superior to the karma yoga, then why tat kim karmani mam ghore nives? Then why you engage me? How come you are forcing me to fight? And that fighting is ghor karma. Ghor, fighting is a really horrible situation. One has to kill another person, army. And then it appears, Krishna, that you are bewildering me. Once talking about karma and same time talking about bhakti yoga, and it appears that you are describing that bhakti yoga is much more superior than karma yoga. Then in this chapter, Krishna gives the answer. In beginning, Krishna says, Niyatam kuru karmam tam karma jyayo ha karmadi. In this chapter, Krishna says, Niyatam kuru karmam tam. Arjuna, you perform your prescribed duty. Engage yourself in karma, because karma jyayo ha karmadi. Akarma, not doing anything, laziness. Better to be engaged in some sort of karma, visheshkar prescribed duty, because sarir yatra pi na chate prasiddheta karma. If you are not performing your duty, karma, you are not performing karma, then sarir yatra, maintenance of your body would be also impossible. You can't maintain your body if you would not perform, you would not engage in niyat karma. So, karma yoga, here in this particular verse, Krishna talks, sadṛśaṁ ceṣṭate svasyāḥ prakṛter jñānavān api. Jñānavān api. Even some person is learned, a scholar, svasyāḥ prakṛteḥ ceṣṭate sadṛśaṁ. Even some person is highly educated, learned, but even that person, he also follows his own nature, what he have acquired from his previous life. sadṛśaṁ ceṣṭate, svasyāḥ prakṛteḥ sadṛśaṁ ceṣṭate, jñānavān. Even one is very highly educated, learned person, he also follows, or he acts according to his acquired modes of material nature, his svabhāv, prakriti. And then Krishna, prakṛtim yānti bhūtāni. Bhūtāni, living entity, bhūtana jiva. All living entity, prakṛtim yānti, we have according to his own nature, svabhāv. Then nigrahaḥ kim kariṣyati. Suppression, repression of your senses, it will not help much more. So, here Krishna here Srila Prabhupada in this purport talks about only a person who has elevated himself on the spiritual platform of Krishna consciousness, that person only becomes free from the modes of material nature. Only those person who is completely raised himself on the level of spiritual platform or otherwise Krishna consciousness, that person can encroach, he can get out from that entanglement of material nature, modes of material nature. So if anyone serious about making substantial progress in his spiritual life, if really he wants to spiritually, the first thing in Bhagavad Gita described that Gyan means like beginning of our Gyan, that we must be able to discriminate between body and soul, Sharir and Atma. So we must understand the difference between material body and subtle body and also Atma, soul. They are completely separate things. It is separate matter that soul, the Atma, has taken shelter, are residing in this material body. But by nature they are completely different. Body is subject to death, decaying. Every moment body is decaying. Some transformation is taking in this material body or even subtle body. But in Atma, in soul, there is no change at all. And nature of Atma is Satchit Anand. Atma, ever existing, Sat. And it is blissful. Always Anand is there. Satchit Anand. And it has knowledge, Gyan, consciousness. And the body is dull body, material body. Has no consciousness, there is no Anand, there is no happiness in this material body. And it is not permanent as well, Sat. Today or tomorrow it is going to fall down. So one thing is spiritual, raising ourselves on a spiritual platform, we must understand the difference between body and soul. And same time we must understand that how we are related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa. What is our relation with Kṛṣṇa? That must be realized, and that realization is Jiver Swarup Hoy Nitya Kṛṣṇa Nitya Das. We must realize this fact that the conceptual position of a living entity is to be the internal servant of Kṛṣṇa. This is our relationship with Kṛṣṇa. And on that platform, we cultivate our Kṛṣṇa consciousness. We must revive our spontaneous attraction for Kṛṣṇa. हमारा जो सहज कृष्ण के साथ संबंध है उसको रिलीज करना. So when we become on that platform, that is called the, it means we have raised ourselves on the level of spiritual platform, Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And only then we will become qualified, eligible to get out from this entanglement of material existence. Otherwise, even theoretical knowledge we have theory that one theory is that soul and Atma are different. Only unless and until we have realized this fact, visualize this fact, realize that Atma and body is completely different. So once the person becomes on that platform, then he has no any interest in sense gratification. It is not very good news, but it is a fact that sense gratification and self-realization, they go in reverse proportion. If sense gratification is increased, if someone is engaged in sense gratification, certainly that time his self-realize would be decreased. It goes absolutely in reverse proportion. So, how we become free from this entanglement, free from the tendency for sense gratification, when we raise ourselves on that highest platform of spirituality, Krishna consciousness. Anyatha, prakṛtim yānti bhūtāni. Every single living entity in this material world, especially while in contaminated state, baddhavastha, he must follow bhūtāni prakṛtim yānti. We can't control our senses. Nigrahaḥ kariṣyati. Nigraha means control. If we try to suppress our senses, or we try to control our senses without Krishna consciousness, it is not going to work at all. Bhūtāni means living entity. Prakṛtim means they are follow in that sense. Even unwillingly, sometimes we know that this thing I must not do, but still helplessly it appears that someone is dragging us in the wrong direction. Typical example you must have heard about Duryodhana. Once he was questioned, he was asked, how come you are so tyrant type your behavior, atrocities, atyachar, inflicting on the Pandavas. It appears that you don't know what is the religious principle, what is dharma, what is the dharma. Then Duryodhana, jñānami dharmam. I understand, I know the principle of religion. I know what I should do. Jñānami dharmam. But I don't have any inclination, I don't have any pravritti, tendency to act religiously. Jñānami dharmam nachame pravritti. I don't have any. My mind doesn't go, conscience doesn't go to perform religious activity. And jñānami adharmam. I know what is the irreligious principle. What is adharma? But I could not control myself in going in that direction, adharma. Kenapi devena hridisthitena. It appears that some devata is sitting within me and he is directing, he is controlling, he is inspiring to do. And unfortunately, within my consciousness always direct me to irreligion. So Lord also says in Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna also says that helplessly sometimes we know what I should not do, yet we are very aware that what is religious, what is irreligion, what is good and what is the bad. But even understanding, we do in the wrong way. So here Krishna also says, jñānavān api, even a learned personality. But since he has cultivated his consciousness in such a way under the three modes of material nature, though he is saturated with the modes of material nature, Sattva-gun, Rajogun and Tamogun, so sometimes understanding is there. Jñānavān api, theoretically, principally we understand, but still, svasyāḥ prakṛteḥ, according to his own acquired nature, ceṣṭate, he endeavors. So, in Prabhupada quotes a very own celebrated verse. Prabhupada quotes that this fact is also described in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter. Devi hesha gunmayi mam maya duratya. Devi hesha gunmayi mam maya duratya. Mame prapadante māyā metam tarantite. This prakriti, Kṛṣṇa says, Daivi hesha, the divine energy of mind consisting of three modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome. It is almost impossible to cross the material existence by our own endeavor, our own prayas. Only way, but those who have surrendered unto me, if someone surrender unto me, then very easily that person cross, he can easily cross beyond it. He can go from it. So surrender Bhagavad Gita time to time, from beginning to end, this fact is described there. Daivi hesha gunmayi, because this material energy, māyā Shakti, is also working on divine level, and it belongs to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa energy, Daivi hesha gunmayi mam māyā duratya. Duratya, very difficult to cross, go beyond it. By our own endeavor, we are trying our level best to go cross it. It is not possible at all. If simply someone is interested, Daivi hesha gunmayi mam māyā duratya, how we can cross over? Surrendering process. One whosoever surrenders unto lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, by the mercy of Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa will tell māyā Shakti, modes of material nature, please free this individual, this living entity from entanglement, then Prakriti will make it free. Otherwise, as long in the trap, trap of Maya. So, so here in this verse, Srila Prabhupada, Sri Kṛṣṇa talks about we are in conditioned stage. One living entity situation, one time you are situated in your constitutional position, that is a liberated state, and another conditioned state. At least while we are in this Maya, then we are completely in the trap of Prakriti, trap of Maya. We can't, like a bird, if it is in the jal, in the trap, how it is possible to come out from it? It is not possible at all. So, if someone is interested to cross material existence, go beyond material existence, come out from entanglement, then that person must surrender into the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. Daivi hesha. Prabhupada has quoted, it talks about this verse, Daivi hesha gunmayi mam māyā duratya. My material energy is duratya, difficult to cross it, go beyond it. But mam eva ye prapadyante, but if someone surrenders unto me, Kṛṣṇa, then māyā metam tarantite. They can very easily, they can cross this material existence. In Purport, Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that, of course, but artificially we should not try to imitate a liberated person. When I have raised myself on the highest platform of Krishna consciousness, I am completely free from entanglement to material existence. Artificially, Prabhupada talks in this purport that there are many transcendental, so-called, they claim that a highly elevated personality, but in their private life, in their individual, they don't behave as a spiritualist. Though when they sit on Vyasasana, while speaking, they can speak very nicely. But when practical things comes, then they are completely under the modes of material nature, and their private life, it is not like a self-realized person. So for that, what we must engage ourselves in our prescribed duty. By performing our prescribed duty, our senses becomes purified. कर्म से हमारी शुद्धि होती है. तो all of a sudden, artificially, we should not give up karma. We engage ourselves in a prescribed duty under the guidance of some superior authority, and then our senses, our consciousness should be purified. And once our consciousness is completely purified, then we can understand, we can realize the self. We will raise ourselves on the platform of self-realization. So, in the beginning, niyatam kuru karmam tvam karma jyayo ha karmadi. Karma, engaging ourselves in karma is better than inactiveness. Sarir yatra, and then in this chapter, Kṛṣṇa talks about very great personality. They also got perfection simply by performing their karma. Example of Janak is described. Kṛṣṇa talks about कर्मणयो वहीं संसिद्धिम आस्थिता जनकादय. Janak, one of the Mahajan, how he got the highest perfectional stage of his spiritual life, karmana eva hi, simply by performing nicely their karma. Karmana eva hi sansiddhi asthita janakadaya lok sangraha mevapi sampasyan kartum arhasi. If someone has attained the highest perfection of life, spiritual life, still that person is advised to engage himself in the karma. Why? Lok sangrah mevapi, in order to educate in people in general, we must engage ourselves in the karma. Because yajad acharti ceṣṭate devutara jana. People in general, they have not perfect intelligence. They can't decide what to do and what not to do. But a highly elevated person, a leader does, then other people simply will follow. So even someone has attained the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, still that person is advised, at least in this chapter, to engage himself in karma, swakarma, prescribed duty. And then Kṛṣṇa gives his own example. I myself engage in karma, different type, always, in order to teach, educate in people in general. So, here, in one place, Kṛṣṇa talks about, of course, this that na buddhi bhedam janet ajñānam karma sanginam yoṣayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samācāra. Na buddhi bhedam janet ajñānam karma sanginam. If someone is engaged in fruitive activities, he is very much attachment with karma and the result of karma. Even that person, you don't create confusion to him by telling, no, karma is the faltu hai. No, you should not do it. You will not get any perfect person. Buddhi bhedam na janet. Rather, yoṣayet sarva karmani. That a vidwan should engage other people in the karma. But a vidwan, yukta samācaret, he should be very much detached from the sense gratification or result, and he should also act. Action should be performed always. Only thing that ajñāni, simple, he is very much attached to fruitive activity and result of fruitive karma and result of karma. That is also not doing anything better to be engaged in fruitive activities and attachment for the result of the karma. But a vidwan, learned person, his behavior should be some difference. How he does works, also in Bhagavad Gita, Kṛṣṇa talks in 5th chapter. What is the process of performing duty? How we can understand that person is performing his duty according to the teachings of Vedas. He is doing the karma, he engaged in karma. He is very much engaged. Kṛṣṇa talks in 5th chapter. That verse very much celebrated. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam taktva karoti lipyate na sapapena padma patrai vambhasa. Which verse is this one? 5th chapter. Right? Can remember which verse? पांचवा महीने है ना. ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न सपापेन पद्म पत्र इवाम्भसा. ब्रह्मणि आधाय कर्माणि, whatever we are performing, the karma for result of karma should be offered to Kṛṣṇa. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva, and he should be completely free from attachment for fruits of result of the karma. Then lipyate na sapapena, that person could not be entangled in the sinful activity, or he could not be entangled with material existence, just like Padma Patra. Padma means lotus, Padma Patra, lotus flower, lotus leaf. Lotus leaf is there in the water, remains in water. Of course, water is life for the Padma leaf, lotus leaf. But as soon as I put a drop of water on the leaf, it doesn't get wet. And little you tilt that, immediately the water will go on the other side. It will glide. It will not remain at all. So simply, when we perform our karma, we must niyatam kuru karmam tam. We must perform our prescribed duty. Niyatam kuru karmam tam. And same time, that karma, a result of karma, brahmani adhaya, we should offer to Brahma, Kṛṣṇa, and freedom from attachment of result of karma, then lipyate na sapapena. We can't become entangled in sinful activities or entangled with material existence, just like a lotus leaf, though it is within the water, but it doesn't get wet at all. Patta bhingta nahi. Put a little drop on the leaf and little tilt it. Jhuka immediately goes out. So simply, if we must know the art of karma, how we can perform it, Kṛṣṇa talks about. Here Sri Prabhupada also encouraged that artificially we should not give up our prescribed duty. It will not help. So, here in brief, Kṛṣṇa says that even the learned scholar, as long as they are in material existence, conditioned stage, they are following, they must follow their own nature, svabhāv. It is not that I want to change nature, immediately I will change. It will not work at. Even Vidwan, a learned, also follows his own nature, prakriti, svabhāv. And bhūtāni, all living entity, bhūtāni means jiva, all being. Prakṛtim yānti, they follow their acquired nature. So, nigrahaḥ, simply depression, controlling the senses, it will not work, it is not going to help you. Better your senses, your intelligence, your mind should be engaged in karma, prescribed duty. Niyatam kuru karmam tam. Karma jyayo ya karmara. Sarira yatra pinachate prasiddheta karmara. If you will not do anything, you will not prescribe your duty, then maintenance of your body will also become, it will become difficult, impossible. So, in this chapter, Karma Yoga, simply we must try to learn that art of karma. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karotiya lipyate na sapapena padma patra iva ambasa. Padma patra, पत्ता पानी से भींगता नहीं है. You must. Though if you are here in this material existence, surrounded by materialistic people, but if you surrender your karma, engage in prescribed duty and karmafal, surrender, give, offer to Kṛṣṇa and freedom from attachment for result, then you will become free from this entanglement. So, otherwise, if the Vidwan, if he artificially gives up the karma, then he also becomes entangled. What to speak of the ignorant person, in people in general. So here advice is that we must engage must engage ourselves in prescribed duty under the guidance of superior authority, according to the Vedic principle. Then we will become free from the entanglement of material existence. Okay, here I stop. You have any question or comment, please? Okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, surrender to Kṛṣṇa. Surrender to Kṛṣṇa. How can we surrender to Kṛṣṇa? What is the process of surrendering?
here we are talking about surrendering. One is surrendering the result of karma to Kṛṣṇa. Whatever we are karma, send offering, say, yad karosi yadasnasi yad juhosi yadasi yad tapasya kaunteya tat kurusva madarpanam. So, one is kayena manasa buddhya, whatever with the body, mind or intelligence, we are performing the karma, a yogi perform, that brahmani adhay, karma phal ko adhay, in the practicality, I am earning some, we are doing job or some duty or some business or earning some profit. That profit should adhay, that should be here. Adhay means to keep. The karma phal put in the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. Brahmani adhaya karmani. Physically, that money should be adhaya means that put in that donation box. Put there. And mentally, you should not very much repenting that I should not have done, or still result attachment with that I should have used for myself. So, for surrendering, offering result to Kṛṣṇa, and same time karma fall, complete detachment, no asakti, no attachment for karma. So this way surrendering. And one surrender, sarv tyag kari kare Kṛṣṇera bhajan. All one complete surrenders, like Kṛṣṇa towards the end, sarv dharman, give up everything. Karma, jnāna, yoga, just surrender to Kṛṣṇa. Take shelter. Take shelter means Kṛṣṇa will protect me completely. Accepting Kṛṣṇa as worshipable deity, Varna. Now, today onward, I accept my worshipable deity as Kṛṣṇa. This one, different now, no ashraya for anyone, only ashraya, only shelter of Kṛṣṇa. Same time, we must have the faith that certainly Kṛṣṇa will be maintain me. He will maintain me. He will protect me, he will maintain me. So this is called sarvatma samarpana. Here in this chapter, Srila Prabhupada Kṛṣṇa talks about surrendering karma fall to Kṛṣṇa. And it also is good enough with proper mentality and surrendering karma fall to Kṛṣṇa. This is surrender. Whatever we are earning profit, that profit should be given to Kṛṣṇa. This is surrender. Karma samarpan. And sarvatma samarpan means sarv dharman. Absolutely, completely, entirely, all other engagement, all other activities, just take shelter of Kṛṣṇa. Depend only on the Kṛṣṇa. Prapanna means suppose the one person who completely has no legs, both legs are broken, and he takes shelter of a tree, means he knows that he is not capable to go anywhere. He has no any potency, he has no any ability to walk there. The prapanna means I have come here, I have no any interest, even if I want to go out from that lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, it is not possible at all. I will be, because I have no legs as well. Prapanna, prapanna means one, literary meaning of prapanna means one, that person who has no legs, he could not walk. So complete surrender. Kṛṣṇa will protect me. Rakṣasiti vishwasa, he will complete full faith that Kṛṣṇa will protect me and just only māyā man ādhasva maim buddhi niveshaya. All our flow of consciousness should be going in direction of Kṛṣṇa, about thinking only about Kṛṣṇa and vibrating by tongue. We are only talking about or uttering the name of Kṛṣṇa. This is called complete, absolute, entirely surrendering to the Spirit of Kṛṣṇa. But here, in this particular chapter, Kṛṣṇa talks here, surrendering means offering result of Kṛṣṇa to offering result of karma to Kṛṣṇa. Okay, Devanand.
Maharaj, it is mentioned, Kṛṣṇa mentions nigrahaḥ kim kariṣyati. So, as you told that one should not leave his occupation. One should not leave his occupation. One should not leave his occupation. So, but there are people, they are taking to Kṛṣṇa consciousness, they are elderly, but they have certain habits and they can't come out from that. So, how to understand this?
Okay, here, nigraham kim kariṣyati. Nigraha means control, or suppressing our senses. Kim kariṣyati, the question, it will not going to work. But in the next verse, just next verse, इंद्रियस्येन्द्रियार्थे से राग देशो व्यवस्थितो तयोर न पशमाक्षेत ह्यस्य परिपंथिनो. On artificial level, superficially artificial level, all of a sudden it not going to help. Doesn't mean that they no trying to not control. इंद्रियस्य इंद्रियार्थे राग देश व्यवस्थित तयोर न वशमाक्षेत. We should not be carried out by our senses or mind. So we have to make endeavor. That endeavor, Prabhupada is mentioning that when we cultivate Kṛṣṇa consciousness, then we will able to control them. In other places like param drishva nivartate, that very slow. Rasvarjam rasopasya param drishva nivartate. Sometimes we are fasting, though we are not eating, but desire for eating, hankering for food out, but sometimes it increase also. It increase. We feel that we get very much always thinking about eating eatable things. So, when we engage our senses in the higher taste, then and engaging ourselves in higher activity, better activity, more spiritual activity, Kṛṣṇa consciousness, bhakti, and same time trying to control the senses, then here Kṛṣṇa says, we must control our senses. He asya paripanthino. Paripanthino means obstacle. Uncontrolled senses are obstacle in the spiritual progress, but they should not. Nigraha is not going to work absolutely. Doesn't we then let loose all the senses? No. Indriya, next verse, of course, Prabhupada talks about the next verse about this. Indriyasya arthe rag deso vivosthu tayorampasam. There are principles of regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. However, this question is really difficult to understand why here Krishna said, nigraham kim kariṣyati, control is not going to help you at all. And the next verse Krishna says that you must control your senses. Okay, any other things? Okay.
Hare Krishna. So today we learned that partial surrender and complete surrender. So I have doubts in my back of the mind.
No, not partial. Surrender of karma, I say.
Fruits, surrendering the fruits, doing the karma, and at last in the 18th chapter it is complete surrender. sadṛśaṁ parityajya. So can we say that when we are surrendering fully, in that case Krishna is the doer? Because in the surrendering the fruits, we are the doer and we are surrendering the fruits to the Krishna. So is it true that when we are surrendering everything, in that case Krishna becomes the doer for us? Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja.
Please, precisely what is the question?
My question is, today we learned that we have to do our prescribed duties, and at the same time whatever we earn we have to surrender it to the Krishna. In that term we are attached to the work, but we are not attached to the fruit because we are offering the fruits to the Krishna. But in the 18th chapter it is that you sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam. So you are surrendering fully, which you talked that ki whole soul he is dependent on Krishna for his earning, for everything. So in that case does Krishna becomes his doer, or he will be still the doer?
Krishna, complete surrender means Krishna is never doer. Krishna is Krishna. Complete surrender, the typical example you must have heard. One point, in the assembly of the Kauravas, she was brought and they tried to make her naked. So, one point, at least beginning, Draupadi has confidence that grandfather, Bhishma Pitama is there, my husband. Certainly they will not allow to disrobe me. Certainly they will protect. So, and she asked, and then nobody came forward to help. So towards the end, she was holding her, catching her sari. But one point, she realized that what strength I have to stand holding the sari, how can I protect myself? So one point completely gave up, both hands raised and complete. Now, let us kiss. So that is called complete surrender. But if on that platform you are not a complete surrender, then karma, yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, dhyan yoga, try break it. It is not everyone consciousness so big, developed that we will think. But by fortune anyway, qualified or unqualified, any person completes, he becomes frustrated from everything and he takes shelter of Krishna, Krishna protects him. In Ras Lila, Gopi Geet one verse, 5th verse, how this start? Virachita bhayam vishnidhurjate charan miyusham sansritir bhayat karasaroruham kant kamadam sirasidhehina srigara paraga. Meaning of this verse is virachita abhayam sansrite bhayat. If someone becomes very fearful from sansriti, material existence, he takes shelter in lotus feet of Krishna. Then Krishna both hands they protect, they shelter. Virachita abhayam. The palms, the hands of Krishna gives abhay, perform abhay, the freedom. Virachita abhayam Vishnu dhurjite charana miyusam sansrite bha. If anybody very much frustrated from, he doesn't see any light, any help from, and simply surrender, then Kṛṣṇa gives him complete protection. So for complete protection, you need not to do on any other thing. Simply take shelter and Kṛṣṇa will protect. That is ultimate final instruction of Kṛṣṇa. So that is also possible, and if someone, so in that case, Kṛṣṇa is not, you are surrendering and Kṛṣṇa is protecting. The doer is always individual soul, Jivatma. Kṛṣṇa gives protection. Kṛṣṇa energy gives him protection. It is protected. Okay, here I should say. Yes. Srila Prabhupada ki